When we first saw Ratna, she was in the discussion class with other women. We started shooting and we noticed that she began to speak out. Our first impression was that it was perhaps, as is usually the case, that it was a camera that prompted her to be vocal. But it did not take us a long time to realize that she was actually not someone who enjoyed or loved to rattle on or brag. Actually, she spoke only when she had to. Abandoned by her father, Ratna grew up with hardship. She had to get married when she was studying in grade 8. About 5 years back, her mother-in-law got cancer. The family sold almost everything for her treatment but could not save her. Her husband had to leave the family for work and he has not been able to return since 4 years. The family is yet to fully recuperate the financial loss. So, life is not easy for Ratna. With her husband away, the responsibilities of the whole family is on our hands. The next morning, when we went to her home, she was busy with a lot of work. But even amidst her busy schedule, she gave us quite a lot of time. The first thing she took us to was one of the 3 water tanks that they had built for irrigation. The lush greeneries in the village could give one the impression that water was abundant, which is actually not the case, hence the need for the tanks. And then we went to a poor family in the village that Ratna and her friends from the class had helped. The children's father had died and nobody knew where their mother had disappeared. They were utterly helpless, lived in hunger, deprived of any love or care. Ratna tried to comfort them and cheer them up a bit. But the heart of her mother could not hold back the tears. She later told us it reminded her of her own past. Then we walked up to the spot where Ratna and her friends wanted to see a health post building built. The health post nearby was housed in another office's building, which was inadequate and old. Ratna and her friends from the discussion class had been putting their efforts together with the health post staff to get the government allocate budget for constructing the health post's own building. Ratna was hopeful that they would be able to get budget sanctioned in the near future. But Ratna showed us around the improvements that had been made through their collective efforts. The following afternoon, she took us to the school where her elder son studied. Some time back, she had spoken up against the school authorities when they had distributed only half of the scholarship amount to each Dalit student instead of the full amount they were entitled to. She recalled the incident vividly and described to us what had happened that day, where and how. Actually, it was a bit surprising for us to hear the story of how she spoke up, argued, and even insisted. So, why are we filming Ratna, by the way? We are commissioned to make a film that shows the impact of a project and had selected some people who had changed themselves through the project and who had themselves become change makers. Ratna, in a small, hot, humid village called Ramghat in mid-western Nepal, was supposed to be one of them. To document changes brought about by a development project, not a tempting task most of the time, but this time it was a little different. As someone who comes to document changes brought about by development interventions, we sometimes have naively unrealistic expectations, or at least hope. I don't know where it comes from. We look forward to seeing miraculous transformations, even though we know that is almost always impossible. If not here, maybe in some other location. If not by this group of people, then maybe by that group of people. Ratna told us several other things that they had done to change things in the village, such as to stop gambling, to get the embezzled money of the Forest Users Committee paid back, etc., etc. For a moment, it seemed as if our dream had come true, that we had found the ultimate change maker we always hoped to find. We are buoyed by her spirit and touched by her honesty. For a woman from a marginalized Dalit community with limited education, what she had done was out of the ordinary. But then we began to mull. Will Ratna be able to do miracles for her village? Will most of the problems in Ramgarh be addressed because of her, or several others like her? Will a village become a dream village in the foreseeable future? It did not take us a long time to find the answers. No, none of these things were going to happen, at least not so soon. Change is not so easy, life not that simple. They outsmart strategies of development practitioners. But following and interacting with Ratna on and off for 5 days, we became certain of one thing, and that was she would not give up, even though the obstacles were too many or challenges too difficult. Probably not because she's an extraordinary woman, but probably because it is the struggle itself that gives her strength to continue. Someone has said, life has meaning only in struggle, not in triumph or defeat. And so be it.